Most people believe they are running out of time. They say it casually, as if it were a fact, as if time were something that leaks away while no one is looking. But what they rarely admit is that they are not losing time. They are losing themselves inside it. Daniel woke up before the alarm went off, not because he was rested, but because his body no longer trusted sleep. His eyes opened to darkness, and immediately, without permission, his mind began moving. Messages unanswered, conversations unfinished, moments replayed and altered. He lay still, staring at the ceiling, already behind. The alarm sounded seconds later, sharp and accusing, as if confirming what he already knew. Another day he would chase, another day that would end before he ever arrived in it. He reached for his phone without thinking. The screen lit up like a warning flare. Unread emails, missed calls, reminders stacked on reminders. Everything needed attention. Everything claimed urgency. Nothing waited. Daniel sat up, heart beating faster than necessary. Somewhere inside his chest, a familiar pressure formed. Not panic exactly, not fear, but something heavier. The feeling of being pulled in 10 directions while standing still. He tried to breathe slowly. It didn't help. His mind was already ahead of the moment, already negotiating with a future that had not yet arrived. He moved through the morning on instinct. Shower, clothes, coffee he barely tasted. His reflection watched him from the mirror. Tired eyes, tight jaw, a face that looked older than it should. Once he would have called this discipline. Now it felt like erosion. By the time he stepped outside, the city was already awake. Cars surged forward impatiently. People moved quickly, eyes down, faces closed. Everyone seemed late for something important. Daniel joined them, walking faster than necessary, checking his phone again even though nothing had changed. The strange thing was, he couldn't remember when this pace had become normal. There had been a time when days felt wide, when hours were not enemies. But those memories felt distant now, like stories from someone else's life. At a crosswalk, he stopped. Red light, forced stillness. For a brief moment, with nowhere to go, something uncomfortable surfaced. A thought he usually buried beneath movement. Is this all there is? It startled him, not because it was dramatic, but because it felt quiet and true. The light turned green. He moved again. By midday, the pressure had grown. A meeting ran longer than planned. A message arrived that carried the weight of expectation. A mistake, small, ordinary, felt unbearable. Daniel responded sharply, then immediately regretted it. The regret lingered longer than the moment itself. By evening, he was exhausted without knowing what he had actually done. Time had passed, but none of it felt lived. He left his apartment again after sunset, not to go anywhere specific, just to escape the walls. The city had softened. Lights glowed instead of glaring. Voices blurred into background noise. As he crossed the park near his building, something slowed him. At first, he thought it was curiosity. Then he realized it was contrast. Near the center of the park, slightly removed from the paths, someone sat completely still. An old man. Simple clothing, straight posture, hands resting loosely, eyes open. Not focused on anything in particular, not avoiding anything either. People passed nearby without noticing him. Daniel stopped. He didn't know why. There was nothing dramatic about the scene, and yet something about that unmoving presence unsettled him more than chaos ever had. The old man was not resting. He was there, fully. Daniel felt exposed, as if someone had quietly noticed a secret he'd been hiding from himself. He approached slowly. The old man did not look surprised. It was as if he had been expecting him. Daniel cleared his throat. "How can you just sit there?" he asked, "with everything going on?" The man looked at him, eyes calm, unreadable. "Because everything is always going on," he said. Daniel frowned. "That doesn't make sense." The man smiled slightly. "It doesn't need to," he replied. "Not yet." Silence returned. It stretched. Daniel felt the urge to fill it, to ask something, to explain himself, to move. Instead, he stayed.
After a moment, the words came out on their own. "I feel like I'm always late," Daniel said, "even when I'm early." The old man nodded. "You are walking through time," he said, "but you are never standing in it." Daniel didn't respond. Something in his chest tightened. The man gestured toward the ground. "Sit." Daniel hesitated, then obeyed. The grass was cool beneath him. His body shifted restlessly. Within seconds, his thoughts surged. "This is pointless. I don't have time for this. I should be doing something." The man noticed. "You see," he said softly, "stillness feels threatening to you." Daniel let out a short breath. "I don't understand how you're so calm. My mind doesn't stop." The old man looked at him carefully. "My mind does not stop either," he said. "I simply do not run with it." That sentence stayed suspended between them. Daniel didn't know why it affected him so deeply. He had always believed calm was something you earned after everything was done. The idea that it could exist inside the unfinished unsettled him. The old man spoke again. "You believe time is chasing you," he said. "But tell me, when you are anxious, does time move faster, or do you?" Daniel swallowed. He had no answer. They sat together for a while without speaking. At some point, Daniel noticed something strange. The noise of the city hadn't disappeared. Cars still passed, people still talked, but his relationship to it had changed. The sound no longer pushed against him. It moved around him. He stood eventually, unsure how much time had passed. "I should go," he said.
The old man nodded. "You already are," he replied. Daniel walked home slowly. That night, sleep came differently. Not deeply, but honestly. The next evening, he returned, and the one after that. Sometimes they spoke. Sometimes they didn't. The old man never asked questions. He waited. Daniel began to notice how uncomfortable silence made him, how quickly his mind tried to escape it, how often he confused motion with progress. One evening, frustrated, he said, "I don't feel better. I just feel more aware of how chaotic everything is." Daniel began to notice how quickly his mind rejected what it could not control. Each evening he returned to the park, the same quiet patch of grass, the same still figure waiting without waiting. And each evening the same battle unfolded inside him. The moment he sat down, his thoughts surged louder than before. Not fewer, more. As if the mind, once noticed, protested being seen. Unfinished conversations replayed themselves with new endings. Imaginary arguments formed and dissolved. Memories surfaced without warning. Daniel's body tensed. His jaw clenched. His shoulders rose. He tried to force calm. It slipped through his fingers. The old man said nothing. That silence irritated Daniel more than any lecture could have. One night, he finally spoke. "Am I doing this wrong?" Daniel asked. "My head feels worse than before." The man looked at him for a long moment. "No," he said. "You are simply no longer distracted." Daniel exhaled sharply. "That doesn't feel like progress." The man nodded. "Of course not," he replied. "Progress is a story the mind tells itself to feel safe." They sat again. Minutes passed. Then more. Daniel felt exposed. Without his phone, without movement, without noise to hide behind. He realized something unsettling. He had spent most of his life avoiding this exact feeling. Not boredom, not silence, but the feeling of being alone with himself. At work, the changes were subtle but noticeable. Daniel still met deadlines, still attended meetings, but something in him resisted the old urgency. He listened more than he spoke, paused before responding, not deliberately, instinctively. And that instinct confused him. During one meeting, a colleague interrupted him mid-sentence. The familiar heat rose in his chest, the urge to assert, to reclaim space. But something held him back, a fraction of a moment, long enough to notice the urge itself. The interruption passed. The meeting moved on. Daniel sat quietly, unsettled.
Later, alone at his desk, he realized what bothered him. He had not won. And yet he didn't feel diminished. That contradicted everything he believed. That evening he told the old man. "I didn't react," Daniel said, "and it felt strange." The man nodded. "You noticed the moment before movement. That is unfamiliar territory." Daniel frowned.
It felt like losing control. The man shook his head gently. "No," he said. "It felt like not obeying impulse." That distinction lingered. Days passed, then weeks. Daniel's life did not become quieter. If anything, it grew louder. Deadlines tightened. Expectations rose. The world did not slow down simply because he had, and that tested him. One afternoon, a mistake surfaced, one that could not be ignored. A delay, a miscommunication. Not catastrophic, but enough to draw attention. Voices sharpened. Blame hovered. Daniel felt the familiar tightening, the instinct to defend, to justify, to push responsibility outward. The words formed quickly in his mind, and then something else happened. He noticed his breathing, shallow, fast. He noticed his body leaning forward, as if preparing for impact. And in that noticing, the moment stretched, just slightly, long enough to choose silence. He said nothing. The room filled the gap. Others spoke. The tension shifted. Later, someone else acknowledged the shared responsibility. The situation resolved itself without explosion. Daniel returned home exhausted, not from effort, from awareness. That night, he didn't sleep well. His mind replayed the moment over and over. Why didn't I speak? Did I look weak? Did I miss my chance? The old reflexes clawed back. The next evening, he sat heavier than usual. "I feel like I'm disappearing," Daniel said suddenly. "If I stop reacting, what's left?" The old man did not answer immediately. He picked up a dry leaf from the ground and held it between his fingers. This leaf is not trying to be anything, and yet it exists fully. Daniel looked away. "I don't want to disappear. I just don't want to feel like I'm drowning." The man placed the leaf back on the ground. "Then stop thrashing," he replied. "Water does not drown you. Resistance does." That night, Daniel walked home slower than usual. He noticed how often his mind rushed ahead of his body, how rarely he felt his feet touch the ground, how unfamiliar it felt to simply move without aim. At home, he left his phone untouched. The silence pressed in. Old anxieties surfaced, regrets he had buried under productivity, moments he never processed because there was always something next. He felt the urge to escape. Instead, he sat. The discomfort peaked, then shifted, not into peace, into something else, space. The following days tested him harder. A call from his family brought tension, unspoken expectations, old patterns resurfacing. The conversation escalated quickly. Daniel felt himself slipping, his voice raised, then stopped, mid-sentence. He closed his eyes briefly. The pause was awkward, heavy, but in that pause, he heard something beneath the noise. Fear. Not theirs, his. Fear of disappointing, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough.
He spoke again. Slower. Honest. The conversation did not resolve perfectly, but it softened. When the call ended, Daniel sat in silence, heart still racing. He realized something unsettling. The pause did not remove difficulty, it revealed truth, and truth was harder to face than conflict. That evening, he returned to the park shaken. "I don't feel calmer," he said. "I feel more exposed." The old man nodded. "Yes," he replied, "you are no longer armoring yourself with noise." Daniel laughed bitterly. "That doesn't sound like progress." The man looked at him steadily. "Progress is comfort," he said, "and comfort is not what you came for." Daniel fell silent. He had no argument. Because he knew it was true. Something in him had grown tired of surface solutions. He didn't want to feel better. He wanted to feel real. One night, rain fell unexpectedly. The park emptied quickly. Daniel arrived anyway, unsure why. The old man sat as usual, unmoving, rain darkening his robes. Daniel hesitated. "You're getting wet," he said. The man smiled faintly. "Yes." Daniel sat beside him. The cold seeped in. Rain soaked through his clothes. Every instinct screamed to leave, and yet he stayed. They sat together as water fell around them. Cars passed, lights reflected on wet pavement. Daniel felt uncomfortable, exposed, ridiculous. Then something shifted. The rain no longer felt like an enemy. It simply was. Cold. Relentless. Honest. His resistance softened. His breathing slowed. For the first time, he didn't feel separate from what was happening. Later, as they stood to leave, the old man spoke. "You cannot think your way into stillness," he said. "You must stop fighting movement." That sentence followed Daniel home. At work, he began to notice how often urgency was assumed rather than real. How many problems resolved themselves when not attacked immediately. How rarely people truly listened. He still failed, often. He snapped at a coworker one morning. Regretted it instantly. The old shame rose. But something new followed. Recognition. He didn't spiral. He apologized quietly. The moment passed. No story attached, no identity built around it. That surprised him more than the failure itself. He told the old man. "I still lose control sometimes," Daniel said. The man nodded. "Of course," he replied. "You are human." Daniel waited for more. None came. That too unsettled him. Weeks later, Daniel realized something quietly profound. The old man had never tried to change him. Never corrected his thoughts, never praised his progress. He simply remained present, unmoved. And somehow, that steadiness had begun to echo inside him. One evening, Daniel arrived early. The park was empty. The old man had not arrived yet. Daniel sat alone. The silence felt different now, not threatening, not demanding, just open.
When the man finally appeared, Daniel spoke without thinking. "I don't feel like I'm chasing time anymore," he said. "But I don't feel in control either." The man sat beside him. "Good," he said. Daniel looked at him. "That's it?" he asked. The man smiled. "When you stop chasing," he said, "and stop controlling, what remains can finally meet life as it is." Daniel leaned back, eyes closed. For a moment, nothing needed to be understood. And for the first time, that felt enough. Something changed after that. Not suddenly, not cleanly. There was no moment Daniel could point to and say, "This is where it happened." But the strain he had carried for so long no longer sat in the same place. It loosened. Life continued to press in. Work demanded attention. People misunderstood. Plans shifted without warning. But the pressure no longer collapsed inward. It moved through him instead. One morning, Daniel noticed he had woken before the alarm again. This time, his body was calm. No surge of thought, no immediate sense of being late. He lay still, listening. The city breathed beyond the window. A car passed. Someone laughed somewhere below. Nothing asked anything of him. He stayed there longer than usual, not resisting the day, not rushing toward it. When the alarm finally sounded, it felt unnecessary. At work, others noticed before he did. His voice had slowed. Not quieter, steadier. He spoke less, but when he did, people listened. Not because he demanded attention, because he was no longer pulling away from the moment while speaking. Meetings no longer felt like battles. They felt like movement, sometimes forward, sometimes sideways, rarely perfect. Daniel still made mistakes, sometimes large ones, but the familiar spiral never fully formed. There was disappointment, then adjustment. Nothing lingered longer than it needed to. One afternoon, a deadline collapsed unexpectedly. Tension spread across the office. People searched for blame. Daniel watched it unfold without urgency. He felt the old reflex stir, then fade. He spoke calmly, not to control the situation, not to fix everything, only to clarify what was real. The room followed. Later, alone, he tried to understand why it had felt different. He couldn't, and he realized that was the point. The old man remained a constant, sometimes present, sometimes absent. Daniel no longer counted the evenings, no longer waited. He simply went when it felt right. One night, he arrived to find the park empty, the familiar patch of grass untouched. No sign of the old man. Daniel sat anyway. The silence felt complete. Not lonely, not full, just wide. Minutes passed.
Then more. Thoughts arose and fell away without effort. He noticed them, did not follow, did not push. A calm presence remained underneath. He understood then, not as a thought, but as a knowing, that nothing had been added to him. Something had been removed. The need to constantly define himself. The old man appeared quietly beside him. Daniel did not startle. They sat together. The man looked older somehow, or perhaps Daniel was simply seeing him more clearly. "You're leaving," Daniel said. The man nodded. Yes. The word landed gently, not as loss, as completion. Daniel searched for something to say, something appropriate, grateful, important. Nothing came. The man spoke first. "You no longer need a mirror," he said. Daniel frowned slightly. The man continued. "You are no longer running ahead of yourself, nor dragging the past behind you." Daniel felt something settle, a deep, quiet recognition. "I still get distracted," he said. "I still feel pulled." The man smiled. "Of course," he replied. "Stillness is not a permanent state. It is a relationship." They sat in silence, one last time. When Daniel turned his head again, the space beside him was empty. He did not feel abandoned. He felt trusted. Life tested him soon after, not dramatically, not symbolically, in ordinary ways. A sudden family conflict, a professional setback, an unexpected loss. Grief arrived, sharp and honest. Daniel did not resist it. He did not explain it away. He let it move through him. Pain did not destroy him. It clarified him. He mourned fully, and when mourning passed, he returned to life without needing permission. Months later, someone asked him what had changed. Daniel thought carefully, then shook his head. "Nothing," he said. That answer confused them. He did not elaborate. He had learned that clarity does not need explanation. It reveals itself in how you move, how you listen, how you pause. Daniel still lived in the same city, still worked the same job, still faced the same uncertainty. But time no longer felt like something chasing him. It felt like something unfolding alongside him. He no longer measured days by productivity. He measured them by presence. Not in any disciplined way, simply by noticing when he had left the moment and returning without judgment. One evening, walking through the park, Daniel passed someone sitting alone, still, eyes open, breathing steady, unmoved by the noise around them. Daniel slowed, just for a moment, then continued on. He did not stop. He did not need to.